everyone, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this video. We're here today to make my sister Edith's famous Rocky Road candy that she makes every year at Christmas time. And she has a big following of people who wait for this to receive this every year. So we want to jump on this year and put it up so that in the future, when we're no longer able to do this, the kids and the nieces and nephews will be able to make it on their own. So Edith, if you'd be kind enough to show everybody what are the tools that are required and the ingredients, and then we'll give a pause and start making the candy.
Okay, sounds good.
Loud.
Okay, sounds good. Easy recipe. You couldn't find a better thing to make in a hurry. If you have a last minute engagement and you need to take something, this is perfect. So all you need are a cookie sheet, pre-buttered all the way around, and make sure you get the sides too. You'll need a liquid measuring cup, which is odd because we're not using liquids, but that's what I use. One spatula, one stirring spoon, and the ingredients, there's only like 4 ingredients. You need marshmallows. Used to be able to get a 16-ounce package. I no longer can find them, so I use 2 10s. And you can still get those incorporated in. 1 can of Spanish peanuts, salted, chocolate chips, any brand you want, and butterscotch chips, and you'll need a package and a half. Okay, and peanut butter. I use the Costco Jif Creamy, but any creamy peanut butter will do. I have a knife and a pair of scissors to open the packages, and that's it.
Okay.
And so we're going to start out by dumping the peanut butter into our pan, and you'll need at least a 6-ounce pan. I use a copper bottom.
You mean a 6-quart?
I'm sorry, 6-quart pan, and I use a copper bottom Revereware, which I've had for my entire married life.
The golden standby, right?
Yeah, the golden standby.
The golden standby.
That and the 4-quart caramel and fudge making pan.
About how much peanut butter is that?
This is what I call a heaping cup.
It looks like it might be like 1 1/4.
I think it's right between 1 1/4 and 1 1/3.
Okay, good.
And the magic with this recipe is that if you're more of a chocolate person than butterscotch or peanut butter, you must have your peanut butter because it melts your chips. So you can't mess with that. You could reduce it a little bit, but I find that having that extra 1/4 cup in there really helps melt those chips a lot easier. Now, say you're the chocolate person. So instead of putting the extra half a pack of butterscotch in here, you could make this chocolate chips.
Okay.
So you could do your however many ounces, which I'm going to show you here in the measuring cup. But you can deviate. You can use more chocolate than butterscotch if you want a richer chocolate flavor to it, rather than the mixed combination that we're doing now.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried using M&Ms? Or would that not work because they would melt?
They won't melt.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
They would
and
stay
you're going to
whole.
have crunch. Yeah, and you
It's
need
got to change it.
you need the mushiness to incorporate your marshmallows and your peanuts and stuff. And if you had a solid in there, you would never be able to get all
it
your
going.
Marshmallows in
Okay.
there.
The one thing we didn't mention is always the same thing I always talk about on my candy videos is the spatula has to be rated at 450 degrees because this stuff is going to get, warm or
Well,
hot.
this will not
Not too hot, right?
get hot like caramels or fudge.
All right.
In fact, the secret to this stuff is you want the lowest temperature because you will scorch it 24/7. Do not put this on unattended and walk away. And if you're cooking on an electric stove, which I haven't done since I was a teenager and never made this on an electric stove, as low as you can go.
Okay.
And stay there and keep an eye on it, keep stirring it.
Good to know.
So-
Okay, I'm going to pause the video now since we're going to go over to the stove and put all the ingredients in, and then I'll turn you back on.
Okay, so we have the peanut butter on a completely low setting on the stove, as low as mine will go. It's a professional oven stove, so it's very strong, and so I have to cook this at the very lowest degree, and I stay with it and keep an eye on it.
Okay.
I don't go far.
So we're going to basically slowly warm up the peanut butter until it gets to a very creamy consistency.
Right. And,
Okay.
And then we want to add the chocolate chips first, because they take the longest to melt. They're a harder chip than the butterscotch. So I kind of get those started for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I add the butterscotch, which melts much quicker.
Okay, we'll come back when we get the chocolate in there.
Okay, so we have our peanut butter starting to heat up here and getting very soft and cooperative. So I have measured out 2 cups of the chocolate chips. And I'm going to dump those into this peanut butter.
And these are the semi-sweet darker.
Semi-sweet, the old traditional original chocolate chips. Before they started doing buttermilk and
All the crazy flavors they
all
have
the
now.
different flavors they have now. So just the original stuff.
Oh, and look how fast that's starting to
Right.
incorporate.
Exactly. And the reason is because we heated our peanut butter.
Okay.
Instead, it would be sitting here and you'd be going, okay, what's happening? So this will get going, and it's going to take a while to get these chocolate chips going.
Okay, so we'll.
So we're going to leave that set just a minute or so, then I'll stir it again, and then keep repeating that until they're not completely melted. And then you're going to go ahead and add your butterscotch chips.
Okay, so we'll come back and show what consistency
Right.
this mixture needs to be before we
Before we
add
add
the
the
butterscotch. Okay.
Show 'em. Okay, people, so we have got the chocolate chips in here with the peanut butter, and as you can see, they're about halfway melted down, and they formed a nice chocolate pile of mess here. So we are going to now add our 2 cups of butterscotch. And they will
Do the same, right?
do the same thing. And when we get this completely melted down, we are going to turn the stove off, set it aside, and it has to sit long enough to cool down so that when you put your marshmallows in, they don't melt.
Would you say that is cool long enough to where if you put your hand on the bottom of the pan,
Well, I usually just
stick your finger
stick
in?
my finger in there and see, or I dip a marshmallow in and
Okay.
see how it reacts.
That sounds like a
on
good
fork.
test.
And
If it stays,
if it
maintains
stays whole,
its shape.
then we're okay. And if it starts to melt into the chocolate, we're still too hot.
Okay, all right, we'll come back.
So, okay, folks, so I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. So we have just a smooth, completely melted butterscotch chocolate chips and peanut butter.
That smells really good.
That does smell very good. We're going to turn our burner off, which I just did, and we're going to add the Spanish peanuts in the skins with the salt, because that adds to the flavor. Kind of cuts some of the sweet. And these will also go in at this point because they help cool down the chocolate so that we can get the marshmallows in at the end. So we're going to leave this set over on a cooler part of the stove. I'm going to move it over and take a little break, and we'll be back because this is going to take just a little bit.
Cool down.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, folks, so we've got our chocolate and peanuts and everything cooled off. I'm going to do the marshmallow test. So I just stick a marshmallow in there and make sure that it coats the marshmallow and not melts the marshmallow. So we're good. So we're ready to go. So this is our last cooking step, basically. And yes,
that's cheating. You ate the test.
I was going to say, and yes, I was just, you interrupted me. I was going to say, and yes, you can eat the test marshmallow. So we're going to get the first bag in here.
Okay.
And this is where you got to get a little inventive with the stirring, because we want to get these coated. And we don't want them all out of the pan.
Little sneakies.
Yep, and they will. So I could just kind of work them down the sides.
It's kind of like when you make marshmallow crispy treats.
Right, yes.
But
we don't want our marshmallow to
melting,
melt,
yeah.
because that's part of the fun of the rocky road. Just like the ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that first bag pretty well incorporated.
Okay, now you want me to
So-
sprinkle half of the second bag?
Sure.
So I'm going to go in with half of a second bag here.
and you will get chocolate all over your
Yeah, it's a bit
fingers,
messy,
so
yeah.
keep a wash rag or something handy. And then I just keep working these in until I get all of them in and coated. And usually there's always a renegade somewhere that's
Plops out.
plops out, but you can cover that when you get it onto the tray and you scrape your pan out of the chocolate.
Gotcha.
You can kind of cover them up. Okay,
Would you
hit
like
us
some
with
more?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to go in with some more.
Just dump the rest of it.
Oh, really? Too bad.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Oh, she's getting aggressive here.
Well, I said it
takes-
earlier that it
yeah.
used to be 1/16, but I found I can't find them very seldom,
Right.
and so I just went to 2
Go ahead. It makes it a little bit more marshmallow, but delicious, right?
Well, I also, when I did that, I added a little bit more chocolate to the recipe and stuff.
gotcha.
So I altered it for the extra marshmallow.
Gotcha.
Which
Now,
is-
I know that previously you said you didn't put M&Ms in here, but I know you wouldn't like that. But I'm thinking some people might like that like M&Ms.
Well,
You could try it, in other words.
you'd have to wait, I guess, till this point to do
Correct.
that because they're never going to melt without
Right.
being some kind of a disaster in there with those shells
Right. If you added those in,
bleeding into everything.
correct,
So
it would be a disaster.
Yeah.
If it was still warm.
okay, so our marshmallows are incorporated, and that wasn't so bad.
No, here, let me
And-
help you with your spoon.
Okay, well, we're gonna dump.
Plop.
So
Right, but let me get everything off of here because I'm a
just lick the spoon, Cecilia.
I'll put it over here for licking later.
Okay. For later
I'll lick
licking.
it later.
Okay, so now you've got your buttered sheet that we talked about earlier,
Uh-huh.
all set up and ready to go, and we are going to
Plop it out.
plop it out. And Celia, hold that. tray.
This is where another second set of hands
can come in handy.
Can
I
be
know
helpful.
You can do it
Yeah.
yourself, but
I
it
don't
is
know. As
helpful.
we get a little bit older, I find that it's really
We're
nice.
not as dexterous
Well,
as
yeah,
we used to be.
it's nice for Michael to be handy to hold the pan so that I can scrape everything out because
Okay.
it's just easier. Little
now I'm
support,
gonna-
right?
Finish this off, and like I said, this is where you can, cover up any
boo-boos,
marshmallows that
yeah.
didn't get coated completely, and get all this nice ooey gooey
Chocolatey
chocolate
butterscotch.
and butterscotch stuff out of here, and peanuts, and
Now, after you get this on here and you kind of spread it in your sheet pan, do you just leave it at ambient temperature or do you
No, I
sometimes put
refrigerate
it?
it.
Okay, so you're going to put this whole
yeah, this is going to go in the
thing
fridge when we get it all spread out.
into the refrigerator.
So the trick is you want to get
Push it to the
all the way
sides.
into your corners,
Yeah.
and
Actually, I can say that in my experience of helping Edith, when she cuts this after it's been refrigerated, it's actually it cuts very well. It holds its shape,
yep.
and you actually get a very defined piece. The problem with that is if you start to eat this,
You can't stop.
exactly. I have had that experience a couple of times where I've said, oh, I'm just going to have one piece of Rocky Road, and then it's just so darn delicious that it turns into 5 pieces of Rocky Road.
Yeah, and again, this is a simple thing to do. As you can see, it took us less than a half an hour probably,
Right.
other than the wait time. It took us 5 minutes to get it together, and then we had to wait, of course, about 20 minutes for the chocolate to cool down
Now-
to be the way we wanted it. But it's great for taking to your doctor's office, for your physical therapy office, anybody you want to wish a happy holiday season to and take them something. And you get a big batch.
Right.
So this can be split in half and go to 2 doctor's offices.
Right. It cuts up and cuts into really
Right.
nice portions.
And you can cut them any size you want. I usually try to go with, I use my old handy squared off spatula as kind of a marker. And sometimes
I would
I'll go
guess
a little bit bigger, and
yeah,
sometimes
I would guess that's probably 1.5 inches.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Anyway, but if you want bigger chunks for your younger friends, I send this to Stephen, who I call my third child. He's in the Navy, and when he's out on the ship, I send him this, and then it got so popular I had to start sending 2 or 3 boxes because the guys would raid Stephen's Rocky Road, and then I would get a tearful letter or email, Mom, they ate my Rocky Road.
Send more candy.
Send more Rocky Road. So it's wonderful. Amazingly enough, men love it.
Yeah.
The guys are hot on this stuff. I couldn't keep it in the shop at work when I worked in the shop.
Can you talk a little bit about storage? What is the appropriate? Is it just like another candy where you would put it in a airtight Tupperware tin?
Sure.
Can it freeze?
I have never frozen it.
Okay, because
I
of the
think
chocolate.
the chocolate and the marshmallow would granulate.
Okay, makes
Probably
sense.
wouldn't bother the peanuts, but everything else would probably have a heart attack. So I would not freeze it.
Yeah.
But it refrigerates forever.
Yeah.
And we actually had the very first batch I was given to me by a friend where I worked, Linda. And I forgot all about it. I had it sitting up on top of the refrigerator in the tin, in the Christmas tin she had given me. And somewhere around my birthday in May or so,
Oh my God.
I realized that we had left that tin up there, so I was going to throw it out, and it was
Delicious.
just hunky-dory. So.
Oh my God.
So it holds forever.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so now we're going to stick it in the refrigerator, and then later tonight I'll take it off and I'll let it sit for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'll cut it.
Okay, that makes good sense.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Let's take a look together if we can see each other, both of us here. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you give this a try. It's really delicious. And if you do like it, please hit the like and the share. And if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those as well. We just want to take a second here to show you our cool little holiday aprons that Grandma Jean
Made us,
and say thank you, Grandma Jean. We really love them, and we're getting a lot of good use out of them.
Thank you, Grandma Jean.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.